So what I have right here is a metamorphic carbonic rock made of carbon. The only thing I don't know is this graphite or is this coal? I mean, it's very shiny. It's brittle, especially on the edges. Because the graphite and coal looks primarily about the same. But this looks more like amorite. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that right. Coal type of coal, right? I mean, there's bituminous coal, and then after bituminous, higher grade of coal, I think it's called anthracite coal. Anthracite coal. Anthracite. Yeah, that's the correct term. Can't tell if this is anthracite coal or the next step up, super anthracite or graphite. I mean, some of the rocks I have are definitely coal because they're not, shiny. They're not brittle. They're soft. This, I'm almost certain is entirely coal. This I'm very certain is coal because it's very smooth. It's not flaky, like graphite. This, on the other hand, is pretty flaky. When I saw some pictures of graphite, it looked exactly like this. So yeah, this could be graphite. Can this and this, very rough edges. Because from what I saw of bituminous coal, anthracite coal, it didn't have any rough edges, or it was very smooth. I think this is graphite as well. I mean, very rocky, very brittle. Sure. See, hear that little crunching? See how brittle it is? Just with these, I was able to flake a piece off. See? That is definitely graphite. This is probably graphite. Not too certain, but also almost has a metallic smell to it. Graphite. I mean, it could be coal. It could just be a brittle form of coal. Coal is not supposed to be brittle like that, flaky. Coal is more, strong and solid. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's definitely flaky. This rock is definitely flaky. It's definitely graphite. See how it's leaving residue over my hands? Oof. So I have a collection of coal and graphite here. I'm probably going to try to collect some more from the beach. Hopefully I collect more graphite than coal. You know why? Because I want to start making graphene. I want to start, or at least invest in graphite. So maybe, I can make myself a pretty wealthy person, wealthy man, also by helping the environment. I don't know if I should be investing in graphite, or in graphene, because, it's a fledgling industry. It's like how plastic was back in the 1940s. Everyone thought it was going to change the world. It's going to be the future material. Yeah, plastics changed the world. Not for the better, but for the worse. You look in China, you're seeing, plastics just everywhere. Cell phones, people are dying because they're going through cell phones looking for like little bits of metal, wealthy, good like gold and silver in the cell phones that they put like as transistors. Yeah, graphene replaces that. That's a good thing because graphite and graphene, they're naturally occurring elements. They're not rare. They're very common. You could actually turn coal into graphite. Yeah, but the process is very, very daunting. It's a very complex problem. Yeah, you have to have a ignitionless process, like heat the coal up to I think 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit in a combustionless chamber, essentially like a oven. And it's a pretty long process. Solar energy can do that. You could turn graphite into coal into graphite and then make graphene out of that. Yeah, you can do that, but it's a very long process. You'll still have to mine the coal to. Graphite is very common, so, if we ever have a graphite shortage, you could do that, but that probably won't happen because it's carbon. Scientists probably find a way to turn regular carbon dioxide into graphite or coal. But it's probably going to be a very long process. But the thing is, what used to be the enemy of helping the environment could actually be the best ally. Coal, believe it or not, the amount of destruction is doing right now is only because we're using it in the wrong way. like what we're using graphite for in pencils. I mean, look at this. You see this, right? Pencil. There's a graphite in there. You see how it's shiny? You see the shininess of the pencil right there? Actually, when I look at my hands, it almost looks like I've been touching pencils all day. That's what I'm talking about. So this is a big waste. Instead of making batteries, they're making pencils. People should be making pens, not pencils. This is the better way, because we need to save all the graphite we can to make graphene, not to make useless pencils. It's also consuming wood. I mean, look, the pencils are made of wood still. I would go to if I were you, trust me, invest in any company that is trying to produce graphene, or that's a current graphite producer. Those companies will definitely try to make graphene, and that will change the way. That will change the future. Graphite is essentially the way of the future. I mean, graphite, it's all the same. It's a carbon material. The only issue with graphene is it's a particle that is also self-healing. A graphene sheet, if you tear one part, it can actually attract another carbon molecule to heal itself. From the atmosphere, which is incredible. I mean, it's not indestructible, but it's self-healing. Of course, if you tear it in half, it probably won't be able to, stitch itself back together, because it's, you completely tore it up. But if one graphene atom goes missing, like you prick it with maybe an object, you could actually self-heal over time. But graphite is definitely graphene and graphite are definitely the ways of the future. It's gonna go from a stick and pencils to making solar and wind energy completely feasible. We could actually this way not need nuclear energy. I mean, we'll still need it to produce cancer-fighting isotopes. We might need molten salt reactors for that, but other than that, we could satisfy all our needs with renewable energy this way. And it's thanks to coal or carbon. We're trying to stop polluting carbon, and the best way to stop polluting carbon is actually to use carbon to make elements. It's incredible. Of course, this is carbon that has been kept out of the atmosphere, and you're continuing to keep it out by not burning it and turning it into something else. It's incredible. It's like, for example, you have a nuclear bomb, and instead of blowing it up, you use it for energy. There's actually a thing called bombs to energy plan that the Soviets and the Russians did. The Americans did. The Soviets, then the Russians, and then also the Americans. We bought up a lot of Soviet bombs, and we took out the plutonium, the uranium, and burned it in the reactors for energy. Yeah, it actually provided an additional boost on our uranium stockpile as well. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of turning a big bad thing into a very good thing. So the only problem with coal is we burn it. I mean, there can be so many good uses for coal, and what we're using it for is to produce cheap electricity that kills people. Unfortunately, yeah. Globally, 3 million people die because of this burning, and then the soot going to people's lungs, mercury. You got traces of radiation in the coal, because it's all the way down there in the ground, and you have radon from the natural decay of radiation. So it's just terrible, But you could actually turn coal into graphite. Graphite is made from coal. And I'm going to go a little off topic here. There is a planet that's been found. According to scientists, they say it has a crust made almost entirely of diamonds and graphite. What is that telling me? That's telling me that that planet has coal as well. What does that mean? It may have life on it. Life. Or maybe ancient life. Maybe the planet no longer has life. Or maybe it still has life. I don't know. I mean, maybe that planet is so ancient, and they also call it a super Earth. It's in the habitable zone. It has... I don't know. Actually, no. I don't know if it's in the habitable zone. It probably is. based on its size, its mass, and what it's composed of. The only way to get graphite is you need to have coal. The only way to have coal is to have life, which means in the carbon cycle, carbon dioxide itself cannot turn into coal because it's air. So they said it has a very carbon-rich atmosphere. Could it be that maybe they also had life, or maybe the atmosphere is just composed entirely of carbon? It could be as well. It could be that maybe there was never life on it, it's just that planet's made entirely of carbon. But more than likely, it is probably that planet had or still has life on it. That planet is 40 light years away. That's very far. But in terms of the span of the universe and our own galaxy, it's actually pretty close. It's very, very close. So if we could actually get a faster than light ship, if we would get a sublight ship that could travel maybe a third the speed of sound, maybe half the speed of sound, we could reach the planet in 80 years and investigate that planet. I don't know the name of the planet, but it was found, and scientists confirmed that. I saw it on the news. I was like, how is that possible? No, and they said it also has a lot of carbon on it, like a lot of carbon. The chance that planet has life on it, I would say 40%. I mean, if we ever become a spacefaring race, ever, and we exhaust our graphite deposits on Earth, that planet has so much. Its crust is made literally entirely of diamonds and graphite. I mean, its interior is. Of course, its surface is so regular crust. We can, satisfy, and it's twice the size of Earth. Imagine never running out of graphite. Never, essentially. I mean, there are planets that are dead. Like they said that the moon has trace amounts of graphite, probably from the Earth. When Earth was struck by meteorites, and the ejecta hit Mars. I mean, the moon. There's probably some graphite and maybe even coal way down in Mars, because as they said, Mars used to have life on it probably billions of years ago. And if we do find coal and graphite on Mars, and especially diamonds, not coal and graphite, if we found graphite is not billions of years old coal life, it's probably 100 million years at least. Diamonds is probably from life about over 100 million years old, maybe 200 million years. Coal is probably from several million years. Graphite is maybe from tens of millions of years. So that means that planet probably had life on it at least, if say maybe 10 million years ago, and it may still have it today, as I said. So we should, once we invent a technology that could actually investigate the planet of the atmosphere, I wouldn't be surprised if they say they found that the atmosphere of the planet is very conducive to life, probably just like Earth. Or maybe just like Earth, it had a runaway greenhouse effect. Maybe they had an intelligent species that, effed up the planet. Or it could be that maybe it's just they had so much carbon there that the atmosphere is so thick with carbon, like super thick with carbon, that it was, even without life, the carbon was able to fossilize into coal, then graphene and graphite, and then diamonds. So yeah, it could be that as well, or it could be most likely probably that. As I said, it had life. So yeah, I think life is definitely likely in the universe. I would say that based on my guess, educated guess, I would say an entire galaxy, there's probably at least, for every 1,000 solar systems, there's probably at least 5 or 10 planets that have life. May not be intelligent life, may not be, but I think that the life may not be intelligent, but life is definitely a good possibility in at least